Hello everybody, it's Jen. Welcome back to another project for Trinity Stamps. Today I'm using the adorable stamp set called Sleepy Hollow, which has 3 adorable little sleeping critters, our Sleepy Hollow tree trunk, and then a number of sleeping accessories to keep our little critters cozy and warm as they sleep outdoors. So for this card, I was going for a winter look. That's what first inspired me to use the blue colors. This is a very monochromatic card with the cool grays and the only color being blues. So when I decided how I was going to color the tree trunk, I really wanted to go for a white tree, sort of inspired by a birch tree, even though we all know that a birch tree probably wouldn't look like this because they're so slim. However, it's a card, so we're just going to roll with it. So instead of using browns here, I decided to go with the cool grays. So I'm using the C5 marker here to outline all the lines on our little Sleepy Hollow here. Once I get the C5 down, I'll go ahead and I'll go over those lines with the C3 marker. Then I'll do the same with the C1 and then blend that out with the colorless blender. So this will give me lots of shading and dimension, but will leave the majority of the tree itself white. And so my thought behind this as well was that the white would really pop off the card. And my hope was that it gives the illusion that the moonlight is actually causing the white to become brighter on the card, and then all of the other images that aren't white would then be darker in color because the darkness of the night sky would fall over them and cast shadows on them. So that's the look I'm going for. I hope I achieved that. I hope it makes sense to you. It's a little bit hard to explain sometimes your thought process and what inspires you to create a card. But I do really like how the whites of the trees just pop off that card once it's complete. So you can see here I've gone ahead and I've colored the other little tree trunk, and then I'll go back and color some of those images that I want white that I missed in the beginning. But I'm going to move on to my critter. I'm just going to show you the coloring for our little fox here. Originally I was thinking about him being a silver fox, and then I could color up the raccoon in the normal cool grays, black and white, that a raccoon would be. So I'm not going to color the deer at all because I didn't think I was going to be able to pull off this look for the deer. But as you know from seeing the card, I do end up coloring her and bringing her in once I kind of went in the direction of having the animals all be in black and white because they're in the night. So I'll color her up, and you'll see I'll bring her in once I'm done the background and we're moving on to putting the card together. Here's the blue combination that I'm using. So my darkest is the B99, and then I also have the 97, the 95, the 93, and the 91, and I will use these in various color combinations for the different accessories, and I'm not going to color all of them with you. I'll color up a few here and then do the other ones off screen just to save a little bit of time. So I wanted to go ahead and color the lantern, the inside of the lantern, the blue as well, to make it look like it's no longer lit and you can see the sky behind it. With the blanket, I'm just following those horizontal lines and then adding a bit of a shadow to the bottom top corner of that blanket. I will go ahead and color the large pillow as well here, just to show you where you might want to put some shading. Now, most of this will get covered up, with the image, but at this point I didn't know who was going to be lying on what or where they were going to be on the card. So I wanted the darkest shadow to be around the opening of the pillow, and I left the little inside of the pillow white just to make it look like this was kind of a pillowcase or something, and the actual pillow itself is white. So we'll come back to the images in a second. I'm going to go ahead and create the background. For the background, I'm using Bristol Smooth cardstock, and I'm going to use my lightest blue color to the center, which is the Salty Ocean. Then I'm going to bring the Faded Jean around that, and finally the Chipped Sapphire as my darkest blue color. Now when I put the first layer of color down, I'm not worried about a good blend here. I just want to get the paper saturated, so once I go over it again, the ink will move more freely and we'll get a better blend the second time around. I'm just going to go ahead and brighten up the entire area. At first I was just going to keep that Salty Ocean to the center, but then I wanted it a tad brighter, so I did pull that out into the darker colors. Now that I have the blue done, I'm going to go ahead and bring in the black soot. I'm just using a scratch piece of cardstock here to create the ground for my scene here. Decided to do that in black because I didn't want to bring in any other colors. So again, trying to create the illusion here that the night sky is taking out most of the color, so the ground would in fact be black. Once I get that done, I went ahead and did around the sides of the panel there, and then went ahead and cut that out with a stitched rectangle die. So now I'm going to place my three largest elements onto the card panel. I wanted the tree trunk to be in the center, and then I wanted to use the little tree trunk here to the right hand side and that largest pillow to the left hand side. You can see here I had some stamping issues the first time I stamped out my images, so instead of throwing out this perfectly good cardstock, I just flipped it over and stamped again on the other side. So that's why you're seeing some images there or lines on the back of the paper. So here's my deer all colored up. I think she looks adorable. She actually turned out to be my favorite of all three of the critters. I loved the little blue flowers in her hair. So I had her lay on top of the largest pillow. And then I went ahead and put the fox to the inside of the tree, and he's just sort of resting on that smaller pillow, and then I added the blanket to him, and I wanted it nuzzled up almost right under his eye, so it looked like he was tucked right under that blanket to stay warm on a cold winter night. Went ahead and put the raccoon to the top, and I'm going to give him the adorable little nightcap here, and I wanted that to be coming down off the side of his head, almost like it's falling off a little bit, but I also wanted to have it overhanging that tree just for some added interest. Went ahead and put the lantern on the little tree trunk there, and then the book in front of that. I thought it would be cute to make it look like perhaps they were reading together before they all went to sleep. So to finish off, I added the little home sign and then the moon. And now I'm going to go ahead and stamp my sentiment on the inside, which is from the Autumn Sentiments stamp set. And this one says, "I heart you and naps," which is absolutely adorable. So no sentiment on the front of this card, just on the inside. I thought the scene itself was adorable enough to carry the front of the card without a sentiment, so you don't always have to put a sentiment on the front of your card. I'm going to go ahead and add this to my card base. This is an A2 size card at 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. And then I'm going to finish off with some little details here. So I'm going to add some black glaze pen to all of their eyes and their noses. This just really brings some life to their face. I went ahead and added like what would look like a nail to the sign, and then I colored the flame of the lantern in black as well to make it look like it had been snuffed out for the night and was no longer burning. To finish off, I'm going to bring in my white gel pen here. You can see I'm just adding some stars to the back of my sky here just to add a little bit more white and to make it look like the brightness of the moon and the stars are creating that bright white with our trees. So I hope you enjoyed this card. I hope it wasn't too complicated trying to explain how I came up with this idea, but I'm really happy with the way it turned out. I love this stamp set. It is absolutely adorable. And I'm thanking you so much for hanging out with me today. and I'll see you really soon in the next video. Take care, everybody. Bye.